The silence finally broke. Ryan Reynolds didn't just issue a statement, he let the mask slip, revealing the truth about a marriage crisis that an insider just blew wide open. For years, they were the golden couple of Hollywood, but now the world is watching them stumble in real time. The report claims they are spiraling behind closed doors, struggling to keep the peace as the pressure of a massive legal scandal follows them home. This isn't just a rumor, it is a full-blown breakdown of everything they have worked to build. The performance is over, and the reality is far more bleak than anyone could have imagined. This is the moment the facade officially crumbled. The biggest shock isn't just the tension at home, it's who they've lost along the way. Ryan and Blake are reportedly at the absolute top of Taylor Swift's enemies list right now. We aren't just talking about a minor disagreement or a missed birthday party. They are currently ranked higher than Scooter Braun and Kanye West on the list of people not invited to the wedding of the century. This is a total rupture in a relationship that once looked like family. The fallout with Taylor has been described as painful and permanent, with no ending in sight. When the most powerful woman in music blocks your number, the social consequences are devastating for a couple who lives for their image. An insider close to the couple says the stress is seeping into every quiet moment. They are trying to put 4 kids to bed while pretending everything is fine, but you can't just switch off a crisis of this magnitude. Heat World reports that Ryan and Blake are essentially in a state of professional and personal freefall. The logic is simple but brutal. When your reputation takes a hit this massive and your financial drain is in the millions, that pressure follows you to the dinner table. It's no longer about a movie or a red carpet. It's about the survival of their brand. They are hammered emotionally and professionally in ways that their polished Instagram posts will never show. The math behind the legal drama is the smoking gun that proves things are not okay. Blake's attorney claimed a major victory in their recent settlement, while the opposing side claimed the exact same thing. But let's be real, that is not how settlements work. When both sides claim a win, you are actually looking at one side frantically trying to save face. You don't settle a legal battle if you are winning decisively. You settle when the risk of continuing to fight would expose you to even greater losses. The fact that the settlement happened at all, after all the public posturing, tells you everything about how terrified they actually were of what might come out next. Insiders are now calling their public appearances contrived and forced. Those romantic photos where they just happen to be spotted looking happy and in love, people aren't buying it anymore. The strategy is becoming so obvious that it is actually misfiring. The public recognizes a planned photo when they see one, and the body language is just a little too perfect. It looks like a small-scale film production rather than a real moment. Someone is alerting the photographers, someone is choosing the lighting, and someone is making sure the angle is clean. It's reputation control disguised as romance, but the disguise is falling apart because the effort behind it is way too visible. Rob Shooter recently pointed out that these staged photos are actually making things worse. Every time they release another cheerful image, it just reminds the public of the mess they are trying to hide. It's a cycle that keeps feeding itself, and they are the ones spinning the wheel. They are trying to drown out negative coverage with a new narrative, but the old narrative hasn't disappeared. Instead of moving on, they are keeping the drama alive by constantly trying to prove they aren't bothered by it. When your PR strategy is so predictable that commentators can map out your moves before you make them, you have lost the element of surprise and your credibility. Every time Ryan and Blake think they are turning a corner, another setback lands on their doorstep. They thought they had a small win when a judge ordered the other side to cover part of their legal fees, but that is already being challenged. Apparently, they failed to provide proper receipts for the paperwork. Imagine the frustration of finally getting a ruling you can use for positive press, only to have it get tangled in procedural disputes over receipts. It's as if the universe is telling them that every step forward will be met with 2 steps back. They cannot even enjoy a victory lap without an asterisk attached to it, and that kind of constant friction is exhausting. The root of this disaster traces back to the film that was supposed to be Blake's big comeback. She saw It Ends With Us as the project that would make her the rom-com queen of Hollywood. She was thrilled and heavily invested, believing this was her moment to return to the spotlight on her own terms. She took aggressive control of the production, pushing a vision that she believed would launch her into a new era of success, but she completely misunderstood the material. The story deals with domestic violence, yet the marketing felt like it was for a lighthearted summer flick. The backlash was immediate, and the damage to her reputation was far worse than anyone predicted. Ryan Reynolds wasn't just a supportive husband during this process. He was deeply involved in the creative controversy. Reports of him inserting himself into the production and allegedly trying to pressure the director have surfaced, and they aren't going away. His fingerprints are all over the mess, which means the fallout isn't just affecting Blake, it's dragging him down too. The internet never forgets, and the legal papers are now public record. Text messages have been screenshotted and analyzed by millions. There is no way to put that toothpaste back in the tube. They are back at the drawing board, trying to figure out how to take the hits and rebuild. The financial burden of this ordeal is staggering. When you see what their legal team costs, it's enough to make your head spin. Legal fees alone can put a massive strain on any marriage, but this is about more than just bills. It's about missed opportunities and brand deals that are suddenly not being renewed. In Hollywood, the machine that supports a lifestyle like theirs doesn't stop moving just because the income takes a hit. They have enormous overhead, and when the phone stops ringing with new offers, the pressure becomes physical. Wealthy people have wealthy expenses, and the realization that their influence is waning is a special kind of nightmare for them. The exclusion from Taylor Swift's inner circle is perhaps the most public sign of their fall from grace. Taylor isn't just a casual friend, she was someone who used their kids' names in her lyrics. They spent holidays together and celebrated the biggest milestones of their lives. Blake was once the person Taylor would call at 2 in the morning, but now that connection is severed. Being ranked as more of an enemy than Scooter Braun is a massive statement. You don't get that kind of status on Taylor's list unless something deeply personal and painful happened behind the scenes. This isn't a scheduling conflict. It is a total rupture that people will talk about for years. The rumors suggest that Taylor felt her friendship was being leveraged for PR, and she has zero tolerance for that. She is famously protective of her circle, and she does not cut people off lightly. When she burns a bridge, she doesn't look back. She moves on and leaves the other side in the dust. For Ryan and Blake, being on the outside of the wedding of the century is a professional disaster. Every photo of the squad without them is a fresh wound that the public will pick apart. They will be somewhere else, likely arranging more staged photos to distract from the fact that they are no longer invited to the table where the real power sits. The Sun put together a top 10 enemies list for Taylor Swift, and seeing Ryan and Blake at the top puts everything into perspective. They are ranked above John Mayer, Calvin Harris, and even the woman who released an edited phone call to ruin Taylor's reputation. To be more disliked than the people who caused Taylor genuine public embarrassment is a shocking development. It suggests a breach of trust so deep that it changed the entire understanding of their relationship. Whatever happened behind the scenes must have been catastrophic. It has left the couple standing alone while everything they once considered their social safety net burns around them. This kind of lasting pressure changes people. It changes how they interact with each other and how they handle conflict within their own home. Even the strongest relationships are tested by these kinds of circumstances. No marriage is as perfect as it looks on a grid of filtered photos. The legal situation means daily back and forth emails with attorneys and constant updates on how much more money is being spent. The public mockery and the feeling of being the target of widespread resentment is corrosive. It eats away at your confidence and your sense of safety. They went from being the couple everyone wanted to be to the couple everyone is warned about. The insider says they are committed to getting through this together, but the climb back is going to be incredibly long. This isn't something that a few months of silence will fix. In an industry that has a short memory for success and a very long memory for failure, they are currently the cautionary tale. Ryan's usual nice guy persona is starting to crack under the weight of the documented reality. He acts like he has no clue what is going on, but he has been in the center of the storm from the start. The contrast between his public image and the legal drama is creating a sense of discomfort that makes people want to look away. Justin Baldoni, the director at the center of the controversy, reportedly came with receipts and a consistent story. Meanwhile, Blake and Ryan came with allegations that they eventually had to settle. In the eyes of the public and the industry, that looks like a retreat rather than a victory. Trying to frame it as a win is making them look even more out of touch. People have a nose for spin, and this specific strategy smells like desperation. You can't claim you won while you are simultaneously agreeing to end the fight because it's getting too expensive or too risky. That contradiction is why their PR efforts are collapsing. For a couple that built their entire identity around being adored and effortlessly cool, this transition is brutal. They are now the example of what happens when you overreach and try to control a narrative that has already spun out of control. They are no longer setting trends. They are managing a crisis. The insider mentioned that Taylor isn't the only relationship they have lost. Other doors are shutting and other friendships are quietly fading away. When you are the target of mockery in the industry group chats, it becomes much harder to secure the deals that used to come to you automatically. The social currency is drying up. The pressure of parenting 4 young children during a national reputation crisis cannot be overstated. Children are perceptive, and they can feel the tension in a house, even if the parents are smiling for the cameras. Ryan and Blake are trying to maintain a sense of normalcy, but normalcy is a stretch when the entire world is watching you stumble. Every morning they have to wake up and check the headlines to see what new mockery is trending. That kind of non-stop scrutiny is exhausting and takes a physical toll on your health and your partnership. It's a dark cloud that has been hanging over their heads for months. Hollywood is a business first and a community second. Right now, the business side of the Reynolds Lively brand is taking on water. If the numbers stop making sense and the public sentiment stays negative, the phone calls will stop. The industry's protection only lasts as long as you are bringing in money and keeping the brand clean. The second you become more trouble than you're worth, you are finished. Ryan still has the Deadpool success to lean on, but even that can't shield him forever from a toxic reputation. They are currently in a very fragile position, and every move they make is being watched with a critical eye. The cycle of staged photos and predictable PR moves has become almost depressing to watch. It's a playbook that everyone has already read. When people can predict your spontaneous romantic outing 3 days in advance, you have lost the plot. Desperation is never a good look, especially on people who were once the masters of the game. They are trying to show the world they are still united, but the cracks are becoming impossible to hide. The insistence that everything is okay is starting to sound like a script that they are both tired of reading. The performance has to stop eventually, and what remains will be the truth. Looking ahead, the weekend of Taylor Swift's wedding is going to be a massive test for them. While the rest of the A-list is celebrating, Ryan and Blake will be noticeably absent. The internet will be filled with photos of the guests, and the comments will be flooded with questions about why the former best friends aren't there. It will be a constant reminder of everything they have lost in this ordeal. They will likely try to stage a distraction, but it will only serve to highlight their exclusion. This is the new reality they have to navigate, and it is a far cry from the life they were leading just a year ago. The real question isn't whether they are struggling, but how much more pressure their marriage can take before something snaps. Every relationship has a breaking point, and they are being pushed toward theirs by a combination of legal, financial, and social forces. They are standing together while everything burns, which is noble, but it is also incredibly draining. You can love someone and still feel the weight of their scandals pressing down on your life like a physical weight. The fallout from this period will define their future, and right now, that future looks more uncertain than it has ever been in their entire careers. Ultimately, the performance of the perfect Hollywood life has been shattered. Whether they can genuinely rebuild or if this is the beginning of a complete unraveling remains to be seen. The staged photos will continue, and the statements will keep coming, but the public now knows what is happening behind the curtain. Taylor Swift's wedding will move on without them, and the industry will find new golden couples to adore. For Ryan and Blake, the focus is now on damage control and survival. The golden era is over, and the era of consequences has officially begun. Only time will tell if they can survive the fallout of their own making.